CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
One line, one team, one heart, one player through the hole, one goal from the start. To dominate the art of the black and blue and watch your Super Bowl dreams till they all come true.
It's a game keenly important for both teams. Intensity written in the brows of today's players. Can Indianapolis go unbeaten? Will the Chargers upset the Colts and fuel their own playoff hopes? This game brought to you in high definition by Sony.
Subway restaurants present Fresh Starts, a look at teams determined to taste victory this season. Subway, eat fresh. It's been a long, slow climb, but Cincinnati is back on top. With a pass rush led by defensive end Justin Smith and a secondary led by cornerback Delta O'Neal, the Bengals have an NFL best 27 picks, while the offense is keyed by quarterback Carson Palmer and running back Rudy Johnson.
They'll hand it to Rudy. Rudy's in the end zone. Touchdown, Rudy.
You know why so many people like the taste of Subway sandwiches? It's simple. They only put on what you like the taste of. Every Subway sandwich is made fresh right in front of you, so you choose all the ingredients. The meat, the veggies, the sauces, the fresh baked bread, everything. No wonder so many people are leaving the burger joints and coming over to the great taste of Subway subs. Because when you really think about it, they don't make the sandwiches, you do. Subway, eat fresh.
Playoffs are San Diego perfection for Indianapolis, and the visitors from San Diego have won the toss. Will have the first opportunity, and their rookie from Kansas State, Darren Sproles, is back as Dave Raymer tees it up and fires away. Sellout of 55,000. The kick is short. Sproles on the run. He's covered at the 28-yard line. Drew Brees and the Chargers take the field. Brees back home in Indiana. He played his college ball at nearby Purdue. His 65.5% completion percentage, fourth best in the league. In a season of injuries, Mike Goff at right guard is the only Charger lineman to start every game. And All-Pro Danian Tomlinson is one touchdown shy of 20. That would break Chuck Muncie's 24-year-old San Diego record. Lorenzo Neal, the fullback, in front of LT. He gets the call and stumbles out to the 33, a gain of nearly 5 against the Colts defense that's led by the pass rushes of Dwight Freeney. One sack puts Freeney over 50 in just 4 years. Linebacker David Thornton forced 2 fumbles last week at Jacksonville. Indy is a plus 11 in turnovers, and second-year safety Bob Sanders continues to draw raves. He's an all-field player with great intensity. Underneath in the first catch by the tight end, Antonio Gates, leading receiver by the tight ends around the league. That's his 77th catch. It's short of a first down.
We have seen this San Diego offense that used to only run the no huddle at home, now being comfortable in doing so on the road, and they've morphed into a team that goes almost the entire game now with a no huddle offense.
Third and short.
Oh, there you got a false start on the right tackle.
And the crowd cheers itself. Shane Olivier. And out there on the island, those tackles have trouble hearing the call. Tony Dungy's team, the least penalized in the NFL this year. Marty Schottenheimer, and that's become the acceptable pattern when you're on the road as the crowd noise continues to be deafening in many of the arenas. The visitors work at that handicap. On 3rd and 7, the throw caught at midfield by Vincent Jackson, the rookie from Northern Colorado. Only his second catch this entire season. He was their number 2 draft pick.
Well, a perfect throw from Drew Brees, but Vincent Jackson, a wide receiver, is huge. He is 6'5", 241, and look at the way he was able to use his body to screen away Jason David. David couldn't believe he's trying to cover a wide receiver that big.
David is 9 inches shorter. Now it's LaDainian Tomlinson off the left side into Indianapolis territory after a pickup of 3. Monty Rager and David Thornton make the stop.
Well, there's so much pressure on this San Diego offense. Anytime you play the Colts, you know you've got to score a lot of points because you know the Colts are. So Drew Brees said that coming into this game that his offensive team, based on the success they had last year, is very confident.
The Colts have not been behind since Game 6 against St. Louis. The throw almost intercepted. David was there, and Antonio Gates, the tight end, with the target.
And Gates looked like he was confused. He broke off his pattern and stopped running. Drew Brees delivered the ball to where he thought Gates was going to be. Now let's watch Antonio. He's digging for it there, but then he made a little break in, and Brees was expecting him to continue straight down the field on the fly pattern.
Marty Schottenheimer, his 20th year as an NFL head coach. He has more wins than any active coach. 183 regular season. 3rd and 7. Brees. Incomplete. Tried to hit LaDainian Tomlinson, who slipped in the flat.
Well, that time, I tell you what, the pocket disintegrated. Monte Rager really drove upfield, and Drew Brees found one of his offensive linemen right in his face. You want to protect the pocket from the inside working out, and that time the center of his pocket disintegrated.
Troy Walters only 5'7" and 170 pounds back, as Mike Cyphers, who has had only 18 of his 54 kicks returned this year, only 18, make it 18 out of 55. San Diego is held, and now it'll be the Colts when we come back. The Colts Phi Beta Kappa quarterback makes his 126th consecutive start. Look what he's done the last 10 games. First possession. Missed on only 5 passes, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a perfect quarterback rating, 158.3.
Those are staggering numbers.
This speaks of his preparation, his ability to get it going right from the start. And one of the reasons why the Colts are unbeaten, they have the early lead. He's caught by the heels, and down he goes. And Marty Schottenheimer's plan to put pressure on Manning pays off on the first play as rookie Sean Merriman has his 8th sack of the season.
Well, it's strictly a case of Merriman. He's at the top of your screen. He's going to get around Ryan Deem, the right tackle. And Peyton Manning steps up into the pocket, but he does not ever see Merriman. And I'm sure he's initially wondering, who is it that's on the back of my leg? That's just a good upfield rush by Merriman.
Merriman had him slow down, and Igor Olshansky, second-year man from Oregon, finished the job. Edgerrin James carries off the left side of the 10-yard line, brings up 3rd down. For the Colts, left tackle Tariq Glenn, a Pro Bowler a year ago, should be headed to Honolulu again. Edgerrin James defines workhorse. 39 touches last week at Jacksonville. He's second to Sean Alexander in NFL rushing yards. And his yards after contact are just amazing. So rarely does he go down on the first hit. 3rd and long for Manning. How quiet it is when the Colts have the ball.
Savvy crowd.
Manning with a pump, and he's going long for Harrison. Incomplete. Quentin Jammer with coverage on the sidelines. Fans wanted a flag.
Well, nothing new here about Peyton Manning trying to identify man coverage on Marvin Harrison. Marvin's to the outside. You can see Quentin Jammer just takes off, turns his back, and starts digging deep The minute he sees Harrison coming his way, he guessed right on that pattern. He played the fly pattern all the way, and he was right. Now, if Manning would have broke that off, if Harrison rather would have broken that off, he'd have been wide open.
And Harrison was certainly running away from him at the point of that ball arriving. Under Smith, the kicker. High spiral, fair catch. Parker, no, he's going to run it. 50, 45. And a decent return to the 42-yard line where Justin Snow, the snapper, makes the tackle. So each team with a possession, no score in Indianapolis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40. Volkswagen, on the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. And by Budweiser Select. Finally, bold taste meets a clean finish. Expect everything.
Back at the RCA Dome and never the student, there's Peyton Manning studying the Polaroids. He says this is also the one time he can talk with his receivers using no huddle. There isn't that opportunity on the field.
And for San Diego, it's really simple. You don't get many opportunities early in a ball game on the road with field position like this. You've got to capitalize.
And by the way, the San Diego defense, they have not allowed a touchdown on the opening drive all year. They faced the best in the NFL here today and was able to stop Peyton Manning. The sack was key. Only Seattle and San Diego have shut out their opponents on the opening drive from the end zone. Underneath to Gates, the tight end, and he's hit immediately by David Thornton.
Well, and Gary Brackett lost his helmet in the midst of making that tackle. This is a tough enough game wearing a helmet, much less trying to tackle somebody without one. There's Brackett, 58. Watch him right there in the middle of the picture. He comes right in. That was his helmet bouncing off to the right.
Well, Gates with a couple of short catches is over 1,000 yards on the season, his first in the NFL. This is Riche Caldwell, and he's wrapped up right at the 35. Marlon Jackson, the #1 draft pick, a cornerback from Michigan, made the stop.
Well, you can see San Diego going with the short passing game. That's what this Indianapolis defense wants you to do. They play deep. They want everything to happen in front of them so they can swarm to the ball and tackle.
Third and a short 3, and Breeze, like Manning, out of that no huddle. He has to fight the noise as he makes his call. Underneath, incomplete. Gates appeared to be open, but once again, perhaps a miscommunication.
Well, Breeze was under pressure. Drew Brees got hit as he was throwing that football. Take a look at, again, the pressure is going to come from the top of your screen. He gets his left tackle, Leander Jordan, driven right back into Drew Brees.
Well, Marty Schottenheimer apparently going to go for it on 4th down and 3.
Well, this would be about a 52 or 53-yard field goal.
And Nate Kading's longest this year is 48. Tomlinson complete to Parker, and Eric Parker, who has 43 catches on the season, gets enough for the first down at the 29.
Well, that's a pattern as a wide receiver. You know you're going to get whacked. Nothing but the quick slant, timing pattern all the way, and given a lot of room by Nick Harper. Harper was really playing deep, and that was, again, good timing pitch and catch by Breeze and Parker.
Keenan McCardell and Caldwell to the left, Parker to the right. Gates, the tight end, on the left side. The pump fake, and deep down the middle, wide open, touchdown McCardell. Keenan McCardell, the veteran, 35 years of age, has his 9th touchdown of the season.
Well, what have we seen from San Diego? Short pass, short pass, short pass, and then they go deep. And when they go deep, they've got it wide open. In the slot is McCardell, number 87, and Bob Sanders, number 21. I don't know if he had deep responsibility or if he thought somebody else had deep responsibility, but that is a blow by the Indianapolis secondary, and Tony Dungy can't be happy about that. That's a mental error.
Nate Kading adds the extra point, and for the first time since early in the year, Game 6, the Colts are behind. Well, indeed, the playoffs are right around the corner, as well as the holidays, and NFL experts Pete Prisco, Clark Judge break down which teams will make the cut and who will be left out in the cold. See if your team is in at CBSSportsline.com. Well, Keenan McCardell was in the end zone with his 811th catch of his outstanding career. Dominique Rhodes, who returned a kickoff for a touchdown last year in the San Diego game, is wrapped up at the 25-yard line.
Well, a great look of Drew Brees pumping to the right, freezing the safeties, coming back a wide open Keenan McCardell. We'll see how the Colts play from behind.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. And by the voice-activated Acura TL, a higher form of performance.
So Tony Dungy's unbeaten Colts trail 7-0 early and start at the 25-yard line. Clinton Hart, the safety, right up on the line of scrimmage. Edgerrin James caught in the backfield and dragged down for a loss by Jamal Williams, the 350-pound nose tackle of the Chargers.
Well, nobody runs the ball effectively against San Diego. Take a look at it, real plain and simple. 8 people in the box, 8 people within a yard or two of the line of scrimmage, more people than the Colts can block. And Jamal Williams now over on the sideline as they take a look at his right foot. Maybe he just lost his shoe.
He was a 280-pound linebacker that ran 4.6 in high school, Williams. The throw, tipped and intercepted. Drayton Florence, the cornerback, cuts back at the 25, fumbles the ball, and unwisely, Terrence Keel could have fallen on it. Instead, he tried to pick it up and run. He fumbled it right back to the Colts.
Look like Jeff Saturday, the center, is the last guy holding the football.
So Florence fumbles, but then Keel had a chance to save it for San Diego. All he had to do was fall on it. Instead, in traffic, tried to pick it up and run.
Well, he's trying to get the ball to Reggie Wayne, and it's just a little high, and it's the old-fashioned tip drill. It goes right off the fingertips of Wayne and directly to Florence. And again, look at that hit by Dallas Clark, putting a helmet right on the football. And again, folks, unless you've tried to do it, with that thing being pointed on both ends, it's hard to grab.
Big first down for Manning, who's caught and sacked for the second time. In last year's game, Manning was sacked 4 times, and here's a man this year, only 12 times has the defense gotten him down all season, but twice early by San Diego.
And right tackle Ryan Deem is still down on the ground.
As you see, this is the last season, and Steve Foley, the linebacker, had 3 of the 4 sacks as they put the kind of pressure on Manning that he's not well accustomed to. Now let's go back to the current play, and Ryan Deem injured as he tried to block Merriman. And Manning in an awkward position is fortunate he isn't injured. Successful teams get through a long season without injuries. That's been the case with the Colts. They haven't lost a single starter on either side of the ball to the injured reserve list. Deem is out, and Dylan Gandy, 57, a rookie from Texas Tech, replaces him. Gandy has not seen much action other than on special teams. Manning on 2nd and long. So Scott, the guard, moves the tackle, and Gandy plays guard. Down the middle, and caught by Reggie Wayne at the 29-yard line. Wayne covered immediately. It'll be 3rd and about 8.
It's just fascinating right now to see whether or not Indianapolis can match the intensity that San Diego has brought to this game. You know, I think San Diego's intensity corresponds to the position they're in, having to win this game. And if this becomes a street fight, can Indianapolis match that when in reality, let's face it, they're only playing for an undefeated season. That may not be priority number 1 for them.
On 3rd and 7. Manning gets out of the cup. and can't get the first down as he slides in front of Wilhelm. Matt Wilhelm, the linebacker from Ohio State, and the Colts will have to kick it away.
And right now, this has been all San Diego all the time.
The defense, Marty Schottenheimer told us yesterday he feels the key. Many say stop Edgerrin James. Schottenheimer said we've got to pressure Peyton Manning, and he's done that early.
And Dick, sometimes when the intensity isn't there, sometimes it rears its ugly head on special teams.
Eric Parker, a good return on his last punt. Hunter Smith, a wobbler. Parker, fair catch. He had room to run, but takes it at the 31-yard line, and a late flag is thrown down on the San Diego side of the field. Might have been holding up one of the gunners illegally. Our referee is Terry McCauley in his 8th
During
year.
the kick, holding, receiving team, number 25. 10-yard
Jamar
penalty.
Fletcher.
First down, timeout.
So a negative 10 yards for Marty Schottenheimer, but his Chargers lead 7-0. Welcome back to Hoosier Land. Over 65 million viewers have made CSI Miami a mega hit. Tomorrow, the team exposes a secret that could change everything. Don't miss a new CSI Miami tomorrow on CBS, America's #1 network. Now the Colts fans will try to help the defense. So far in this opening quarter, Dan, the Chargers with 71 yards, the Colts 0.
And Ryan Dean, the right tackle for the Colts, has his knee heavily iced up and bandaged. Does not look like he's coming back anytime soon.
Holding penalty on the punt return places Breeze in San Diego at their 19. Throw to Parker. And he is tackled immediately by Harper. As again, the Colts, they like to keep all the play in front, and with their speed and their aggressive defense, force a fumble. And they did that 4 times at Jacksonville last week.
Well, by giving ground and forcing you to 6, 7, 8-yard plays, they're challenging you to be disciplined enough to put together a 12, 13, 14 play drive without self-destructing.
Breeze did find McCardell for 29 yards on a good setup, faking the short pass the last possession. He's looking long again. Going deep for Parker. He's got it inside the 25-yard line. Eric Parker on a beautiful throw from Breeze.
Wow. Right into double coverage, though. Mike Doss and Nick Harper are both. Well, it's tough to have 2 guys much closer to an intended receiver than this. I mean, that's initially you'd say that's a bad decision by a quarterback to throw into that kind of coverage. But somehow Mike Doss, the safety, he misjudged the position, came in too far underneath, and wasn't able to make a play on the ball.
49-yard reception for Eric Parker, his 3rd catch. Now Tomlinson into the secondary, and LaDainian Tomlinson drives inside the 15 to the 13, and that'll be another San Diego first down.
And this is just a blow-off right here. The Charger offensive line blowing off the defensive front 7 of the Colts. Take a look at that hole off left guard for LT. And right now, everybody in this stadium is aghast.
The 49-yard pass, by the way, was the longest completion for Breeze this year. Flagged down, and so is Tomlinson, and it was thrown by the umpire. One must suspect holding against the Chargers.
Holding, offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's center Nick Hardwick, who played at Purdue. The gold zone is what Marty Schottenheimer calls it, not the red zone, and it has been golden for San Diego. 2nd in the NFL offensively, 33 touchdowns once inside the 20.
And we are a full-service provider here. If he calls it the gold zone, we'll call it the gold zone. Other teams, the red zone, we'll change colors. We're here to serve.
We aim to please. First down and 20. Gates has to lean back. He didn't quite get the call. Breeze trying to beat the play clock, gives it to Tomlinson, and he runs into his own blockers, and another flag.
And it's again holding. It's another holding call.
holding, offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Hardwick back-to-back. That's minus 20 yards.
That's
Charges were down to the 13. Now they're back to the 33.
how did the line judge all the way on the far side calls the center for holding. You don't see that every day. Right about now, though, I can tell you as an offensive lineman, you're looking for a trap door. Back-to-back holding calls. You're having the kind of day you'd like to find an escape route.
Actually marked off in the spot of the foul, so it's 1st and 29 at the 31. Tomlinson, 25, and down to the 23-yard line. Let's get our first report. New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dick, in Miami, the Dolphins draw first blood against the Jets from 8 yards out. Gus Frerotte to a wide open Chris Chambers. 7-0 Dolphins going now to the second quarter in Miami. Dick and Dan, back to you.
All right, Greg, thank you. And San Diego fans will attest this Miami team playing a lot tougher than 6 and 7. Nick Saban's club putting it together. Second down, Tomlinson dives across the 20 to the 19. Bob Sanders with a low hit.
Yeah, you know, that's run support when your free safety's making a hit at the line of scrimmage. Now that's when you got a guy coming up. Here's a small package, Bob Sanders. We've got another player. Geez, we have another Colt down on the field. Looks like Larry Triplett, the defensive tackle, and he's clutching his right ankle and lower leg.
That brings up the whole issue, Dan, about whether Tony Dungy, after securing the #1 bye, would he rest his starters, play reserves, or would he go for the unbeaten? And it was interesting. He told us he's got 2 piles of mail. He said most of the mail coming from Indianapolis, and Indiana says, rest the players. Let's go for the Super Bowl. The mail from outside the state says, go for it, coach. Go for history.
Well, now what's happened so far, Ryan Deem, his starter at right tackle, is out. He's already missing 2 defensive linemen who he didn't suit up today. Robert Mathis, his leading sacker, with 11.5 sacks. Corey Simon, his big run-stopping defensive tackle. Both of those 2 have foot injuries. And now we've got Larry Triplett down on the ground. So I don't know how Tony Dungy could have much worse of a beginning than what he's witnessing right here to the start of this game.
Peyton Manning, deep thought on the sideline. Is Triplett able to walk off under his own power? Well, let's hope that's not serious. Ball now at the 19-yard line as the Chargers, after the back-to-back holding calls, go to 2 runs to pick up 14 and now are well in field goal range. Ron Meeks and the defense of the Colts dig in.
Well, they're getting support from the fans. This entire stadium is on its feet.
Tomlinson again, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage, falls forward a yard. Dwight Freeney got a piece of him early. So out comes Nate Kading, place kicker in his second year from the University of Iowa. He was part of the deal that was made a year ago when Eli Manning and the Chargers became first-round first picks, and then Manning traded to the Giants for the 4th round or 4th selection. That became Phillip Rivers. And Kading, his kick is driven straight through, low but good, 36 yards. And San Diego claims a 10-0 lead with less than 2 remaining in the opening quarter. Marvin Harrison ready to take his position, a wide out right, as soon as this kickoff is returned. And Dominic Rhodes, a couple of kick return touchdowns in his career here with the Colts. 5th year out of Midwest State of Texas, bobbles the ball, and now with flags flying crosses the 20 to the 21. Manning takes the field. Let's see where the ball will be placed. Referee McCauley.
During return, holding, receiving team, number 53. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Linebacker Keith O'Neill. Tonight on CBS, for the first time, cold case detectives, they're going to be fighting to take someone out of prison instead of putting them away. Don't miss a new episode, the hit drama Cold Case, tonight on America's #1 network, CBS. Oh, Manning, and Indianapolis begins just across the 10-yard line. And it's Edgerrin James trying the right side and finds some room out to about the 17, and a gain of a good 5, maybe 6, and a flag down again.
Number 57.
And it's holding now against the Colts as Dylan Gandy, the rookie who has been inserted into that offensive line with the injury to Ryan Diem, is caught with a hold.
Well, they just, and that was after a holding call on the kickoff return. Tom Moore and this offense are now saying, can we run a play without a flag, please?
Dean still on the sidelines. Eric Parker, the Chargers, has been taken back to the locker room in a cart. Manning from his own end zone over the middle, deflected in the air, incomplete. Oh, that had trouble written on it as Dallas Clark has it skip off his hands.
Well, we can search for words, can't we, to try to describe what we're seeing from Indianapolis so far. Unorganized, sloppy. It's you're just, again, we're seeing balls bounce off players' hands that you just don't normally see. Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark. This is as sure-handed a group of receivers as any team has fielded in this league in a long time, but they haven't displayed it yet.
On 2nd and 15, Manning, the quick throw to the sideline. Stokely, and Brandon Stokely draws a crowd at the 11-yard line. Let's go down to Armin Katayan.
A couple of quick injury updates. Ryan Diem, as you said, has that ice bag around his left knee. His return is up in the air, and Eric Parker is in the locker room now with a right foot injury. His return is questionable. Dick, back to you.
All right, thanks, Armin. Parker injured as he made that 49-yard catch that set up the last San Diego field goal. Wayne in motion, and Manning throws to Edgerrin James, and James fights but can't get to the yard line, sticks, and Jammer and Fletcher bump him out of bounds shy of the first down.
And you can clearly see the frustration on Peyton Manning's face. But the reality of it is right now that the Colts are not matching the intensity and the focus. Now look at that. Now what's Edgerrin James going to do? Break 3 tackles? There were 3 Chargers all over him out there. The reality is right now the Chargers are bringing a whole lot more to this game than are the Colts.
Keenan McCardell takes over for Parker as the punt returner. He's at the 40. And Hunter Smith with a good spiral this time that chases McCardell to the 30. And a 9-10 yard return to the 40-yard line. Justin Snow again makes the tackle after snapping the ball.
Well, this has been a sensational first quarter for the Chargers defense. They begin the game with a sack. Sean Merriman comes in around the corner to get Peyton Manning. Then this one off the hands of Reggie Wayne, and Florence with the interception. More pressure. Peyton Manning can't find anywhere to go. Down he goes. And then, wow, this is the last thing you want to see. Peyton Manning taking off with the football and not even being able to hook slide, but having to go in head first and take a shot. Look at that. 3 completions, a pair of sacks, and an INT.
Safe to say he hasn't seen that kind of pressure all season long. Throw underneath to Gates, the tight end, who has another short catch and a pickup of 5. We're coming to the end of the quarter, and this will end a streak of 31 straight quarters in which the Colts have scored. Not today against San Diego. And we'll return to Indianapolis after this word from your local station. The pump fake, and deep down the middle, wide open, touchdown McCardell.
We'll see how the Colts play from behind.
The throw, tipped and intercepted. We open the second quarter here at the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis. Dick Enberg, Dan Deerdorf, Armin Katayan, our director Bob Fishman, Mark Wolf, our producer. Chargers with the ball at the 45, leading 10-0. Second down and 5 as Breeze Again, like Manning, using that no huddle almost exclusively. Has to scramble. And hits Justin Peel, but it's not going to count. He was bobbling the ball as he left the field to play. Peel, the backup tight end. Harmon?
You know, it's interesting, Dick. Marty Schottenheimer did what coaches in this league for 20 years do. He went to his offensive line and said, be careful with your hands. This referee and this group are calling it very close. All these offensive holding penalties, be careful, guys. Back to you.
You got to adjust to the men making the call, whether it's baseball, an umpire, the strike zone, or officials are going to call a tight game. 3rd and 5. Tomlinson. And he's brought down shy of the first down at the 48.5. Gary Brackett in the middle of that Indianapolis defense leads in tackles with 111 coming in.
And if the Chargers elect to punt, right now they're trying to decide. There's some indecision on their sideline as to whether the kicking team's coming in or not.
It's 4th down and 2.
Yeah, he finally called for the punt, but boy, they thought about it for a while. What a critical stand for the Colts defensively. Boy, did they need that 3 and out.
San Diego with excellent field position. They started at the 40. Troy Walters back inside the 10, and fine young punter Mike Cyphers sends a high wobbler. Walters at the 15-yard line with Hannick Milligan right in his face mask. Timeout in Indianapolis, 10-0 San Diego. Welcome back. Colts fans watching Peyton Manning started the Indy 15-yard line. Not a first down yet for Indianapolis. Testimony to the Chargers defense. Quick throw underneath to Harrison, and Harrison to the 23, and a gain of 8 as the All-Pro has another catch.
I think one of the big question marks for the Colts right now, Dick, as they move on here into the second quarter, is with Ryan Deem out and the adjustments on the offensive line. Can they protect Peyton Manning? He took a pretty good beating in the first quarter. That can't continue for the Colts.
Edgerrin James has the first down and more as he drives out to the 35-yard line. Jamar Fletcher trips him up.
And there's that first down. Good hole off the left side. Take a look at this. Starts to the right, the cutback, the classic cutback, and the Chargers, they just a little slow in closing right there. You can see Steve Foley, the linebacker to that side, had a shot at James, but just couldn't close the hole quickly enough.
Manning, quick throw, complete to Wayne. Reggie Wayne stays on his feet, and Merriman hits him from behind at midfield.
Well, this looks a little more like it, doesn't it? This is a little more reminiscent of what we're used to seeing from the Colts. Reggie Wayne working from the outside. He gets a good release, and then he just breaks the tackle of Drayton Florence. Reggie Wayne, just an outstanding runner after the catch, as is Marvin Harrison.
13 on that play, and the way the San Diego corners play well off the ball, Wayne would figure to get a lot of catches today. Manning flushed out of the pocket and has to throw it away. Flag down in the secondary. Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator of the Chargers, former head coach at Denver.
Dick, did you see that block by Edgerrin James? You know, that's how he gets a reputation of being such a great pass blocker.
Number 25, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
San Diego has been plagued with that illegal contact call all season. Another 5 for Indianapolis that will take the ball to the 45. The official pointed in the wrong direction. Now he turns. He's going to head to the San Diego 45. 46-yard line. And on 1st and 10, Manning steps up and Throws complete to Wayne again at the 40. Wrestled down. Pickup of 6. Drayton Florence with a tackle.
Well, right now, a good, short, quick strike passing game being used by the Colts. These are rhythm passes by Peyton Manning. Again, just working underneath, taking advantage of the cushion. But what I like about these Colts receivers, a lot of receivers in the game now make the catch and drop to the ground like a quail. These Colts receivers, when they catch the ball, they're fighting for more yardage.
Manning now with 5 straight completions, and this one wide as he tries to go to Marvin Harrison. Well, Harrison with a catch on this drive now is at 1,000 yards again on the season, and Reggie Wayne is closing in. He's just a handful of yards himself from hitting the 1,000 mark. So that's a tough 1-2 punch. Many underestimate what Wayne brings to this offense. On 3rd and 3. Manning steps away from pressure and hits Harrison. First down at the 28.
Well, that time Peyton Manning's getting some great pass protection. Again, that's giving him a chance to look downfield. Look at the block there on the right of your screen by Edgerrin James. Manning had to move a little bit, but not great pressure. And again, look at that release by Marvin Harrison. Boy, he's got more parts of his body that wiggle when he's trying to get loose. Sometimes he looks like he's made out of jello.
On first down, Manning looks down the middle deep, and it is almost picked off. Drayton Florence has a great position on Brandon Stokely.
How does he not catch that?
That's been a problem for San Diego. They have only 8 interceptions coming in, 9 with 1 today.
It looked like Stokely tripped running his pattern. Yeah, he stumbles right there, but whoa, how does Florence drop that ball? It didn't even take him by surprise. He's looking at it coming in the entire way.
When Florence intercepted the tip ball in the first quarter, it was the first time.
Please set the game clock to 11 minutes, 39 seconds.
It was the first time all season that a San Diego starting cornerback had an interception.
Well, he should have 2 because that was express mail delivered right to his palms.
Clock reset, 11:39 remaining here in the second quarter. There's Luis Castillo, the first-round pick out of Northwestern, where he was an academic All-America, a 3.58 grade point average in economics, and he was a heavyweight wrestling champion in New Jersey. And Marty Schottenheimer just couldn't. I've never heard a coach rave more about a rookie than he did yesterday when he talked about this young defensive end. The throw is incomplete, and there's the flag. Quentin Jammer holding on to Harrison.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 23. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
One-on-one here on the left side of your screen. You see Marvin sell the outside, try to get back to the inside. Yeah, you can have contact in that 5-yard zone, but you can't impede the receiver's progress. You can't grab him like that once he moves beyond that 5-yard zone, and Jammer clearly rode him beyond the 5.
You know that's going to be seen, that arm bar.
Well, you're out there all by yourself. You're right. Nobody's going to miss that.
So first down at the 24 as the Colts try to get on the board, trailing 10-0 here in the second quarter. James to the 19-yard line. Sean Phillips, primarily a pass rusher, makes the tackle. He, like Drew Brees, a collegian at Purdue, about an hour drive from this capital city of Indiana.
And right now the Chargers having given the Colts a second chance. The Colts with a quick snap.
Yeah, and the Chargers were fortunate. They had enough men in the right spot to tackle James for no gain. Fans are booing. They may have felt that the Chargers were offside. Tony Dungy out pointing.
Well, San Diego had somebody running off the field, the crowd reacting that there might have been 12 men on the field. And you can challenge, because that is a reviewable play. That is a play that you can review. You see there the top of your screen, When does Peyton snap the ball? He's still on the field of play.
Has challenged the ruling on the field that there were only 11 men on the field. The play will be reviewed.
Big defensive lineman lumbered off the field.
Yep, that's a good call. That's gonna go Indianapolis's way.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Best Buy. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours. Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call. And by Hummer. Check out the new H3. Hummer. Like nothing else.
Well, welcome back here to Indianapolis. There are the 11 Chargers, and there is number 12 over there on the field of play when Peyton Manning, when he's right over here is number 12. Here he is right over there, number 12 right over there. Well, we got our numbers all jumping all over the place, but you can see that's Luis Castillo.
After review, San Diego had 12 men on the field at the snap. 5-yard penalty from the 20-yard line. It will be second down.
It's a lesson for Castillo, the rookie, to learn against the Colts and Manning. You better hustle off the field. And that will mark the ball close to a first down and maybe a first down. It takes it inside the 15. It'll be 2nd and 1. And 50 yards and penalties against the Chargers, and we've only played 20 minutes.
Marty can express all the frustration he wants to, but that is one of the risks you run as a defensive team going against a no-huddle team. That's why they run a no-huddle, so you can't substitute.
Stokely in motion. And James dodges through the hole and picks up 5 into the arms of Stephen Cooper and Jamar Fletcher. First down, Indianapolis.
Again, take a look at this, and Edger and James, good, they're not spectacular moves, but they're shifty. They're changes of direction, but always with his pad level so low.
First and goal, a full 10 to go for the Colts. James tripped up in the backfield by Merriman, and Sean Merriman, who was the 12th player selected in the draft out of Maryland, and he's got a great future written on his talent.
Well, he honored his responsibilities is what he did there. He had contained to that side, and he did not collapse in and get caught in the mess, and he held his ground, and look what happened. James bounced out, came right to him.
11th play of the drive, 2nd and goal from the 12. Manning over the middle, incomplete. Reggie Wayne with a diving try at the 5. Well, you could see Manning hurrying his throw. The pressure is in his mind.
And he really didn't have to hurry his throw there. And that is just uncharacteristic for Peyton Manning. That was just a ball that was not a very good throw. You can see a snap from Jeff Saturday was kind of high. That ball just came out of his hand really funky. You can see the thing was in a nosedive headed for the ground as soon as he released it.
Looks to the end zone. Wayne dives. Did he get in? No. They mark it at the 1. Donnie Edwards saved the touchdown. Fans want the Colts to go for it. That's obvious.
I don't think there's any question that they are.
And the Chargers now are Reggie. They tried to send in a couple of big defensive linemen, but Peyton Manning was eyeballing them, and if they were going to come on, he was going to get his team up to that ball and snap it again. 4th and goal, just inside the 1. James up the middle. No, it's Manning, and he's hit at the 12-yard line, and Merriman makes the play again, his 2nd sack of the game.
Well, that was a busted play because you can see Reggie Wayne wasn't even running a pattern. Reggie Wayne is just standing out there. Peyton Manning acting like there should have been a receiver over there. That was a total broken play.
Christmas comes a day early. First, San Diego and Kansas City in a wild one for a wild card. Then it's a big-time battle with division leaders Indy and Seattle. Saturday on CBS.
We're back in Indianapolis, and I've got to tell you, I think everyone on the Colts offense think this is a running play, except somehow Peyton Manning. Reggie Wayne doesn't even realize that Peyton Manning has the football. Marvin Harrison to the other side didn't run a pattern. Somehow Peyton Manning came out of there holding the football, and the other 10 guys on the Colts offense thought it was a running play.
And Edgerrin James was in the end zone had it been a running play. Instead, on 4th and goal at the 1, the Chargers take over on Merriman's alert play. Breeze outside. It's complete to Caldwell. Riche Caldwell spun out of bounds at the 18-yard line, close to a first down. Tomorrow on an all-new Late Show, Dave welcomes Jim Carrey. And later this week, don't miss Jamie Foxx. Plus, Dave knocks the meatball off the Late Show tree. Dave's all new, all this week on CBS. No wonder he's fired up. America's #1 network. It is a first down on the catch by Caldwell. His first is in there with Eric Parker injured. Tomlinson. And he's out to the 22, a gain of 4. Raheem Brock, the tackler. Well, the Chargers again in desperate straits at 8-5. Positive news last night was the Giants beating Kansas City, but San Diego has to play at Kansas City, so that becomes a must nevertheless. And the Colts fighting for that unbeaten year, playing out of character in this first half. Draw play to Tomlinson. He slips as he hits the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3. David Thornton, the tackler.
You know, Dick, you say they're playing out of character. No question about that. But are they playing out of character for a team that has clinched home field advantage? I don't know about that.
Well, isn't it human that after you've clinched all the gems of your season's work that you have a 10% emotional letdown? And even that can be a lot.
How large is that fuel tank that they can tap of an undefeated season? How important is it to them? We'll find out by the end of the day.
3rd and 3 for Breeze, who throws a quickie to Caldwell, complete at the 30, and it's a first down for San Diego, and the clock runs at 6:45 here in the second quarter.
Well, again, this San Diego offense is moving the football. Good look at Drew Brees with all sorts of time. The ball was a little higher than he wanted, and a good job of Caldwell going up to get it. Good job of elevation, and again, the second time we've seen a player lose a helmet so far in this game.
As you see up on StatTrax, Caldwell's numbers, and Breeze now 11 for 15 in this opening half, 144 yards. Michael Turner is in for Tomlinson, and Turner drives out across the 30 to the 32. He was a top runner at Northern Illinois, 2-time All-America. He led the nation, or was number 2 in the nation rushing as a junior and senior. He was number 2 to LaDainian Tomlinson.
And again, a reminder that the Chargers are missing Eric Parker, their wide receiver. They went to the locker room with an injury.
Tomlinson has been bothered by a bruised chest. Said it really bothered him last week against Miami. He felt better this week. So he's being given a breather. Turner in for him, and Turner gets it back. And tackled at the 34 by Gary Brackett. And Tomlinson, after a couple plays off, returns to the lineup. An excellent pass receiver, Dan, but they haven't thrown to him yet.
No, and the chest injury, he admitted it bothered him a lot last week. Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator, sending the play into Breeze, but he just said he didn't think it's a factor this week, the chest injury.
Down to the 5-minute mark. 3rd and 6. Antonio Gates split away. Colts said they will play him like he's a wide receiver. Breeze flushed out, throws, almost intercepted. Nick Harper had it in his mitts, couldn't bring it in, and a flag flies. In the secondary of the Colts.
Holding defense, number 25. 5-yard penalty Automatic first down.
Harper with a penalty after he missed the interception as well.
Well, you see him really pleading his case, riding to the inside on Antonio Gates. Well, right there. Yep. Now, did he really hold him? Did he really snatch Antonio Gates and keep him from getting to where he was going? No. But his arm was around his waist, and that is what the official saw. And I guess the official's in a position where he can't determine whether or not he really slowed him down. Was the arm in the wrong place? Absolutely.
This crew is calling a tight game. Tomlinson, heavy traffic out to the 41-yard line where Bob Sanders came up from the secondary to support Monte Rager. Chargers, after stopping Indianapolis, or the Colts stopping themselves on a blown play on 4th and 1, have moved it out from deep near their goal line to the 41-yard line.
Drew Brees told us that when they were here last year, the crowd noise wasn't that big a factor. He said, we quieted them down. You know what? They've done it again here today.
It is down a few decibels. Quick throw to the sideline, caught by Caldwell. Caldwell up with some tough catches. Nick Harper on the coverage. It's short of the first down at the 47.
It's just interesting to watch how this offense for San Diego has evolved, Dick. Earlier in the year, remember Marty and Drew telling us, we really run it primarily at home. We're not quite up to speed on the road. Well, they've come a long way.
Yeah, it's a matter of being able to run plays with a silent communication and hand signals used by Brees. He sees something in the defense that he likes at 3rd and 2. Underneath, caught by Gates, dragged down at the 48-yard line, first down.
And at 3rd and 2, about your only chance of stopping that is if he drops the ball. Antonio Gates, he looks like a basketball player here. You know, again, look at the shifty little move, but when he does such a good job of positioning his body where you got to go through him to get the football. You can't go around him. He's so doggone big and talented.
And he has a smile to match it all. What a pleasant young man. He said, I want to be such a complete tight end that people want to buy a ticket just to see me. As they do to see that man, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, who gains 3. Cato June brings him down.
You know, we talked about Antonio Gates. Take a look at this. 80 receptions. That's first. The 1,000 yards already he's surpassed. 9 touchdowns. You know, last year,
that's all receivers, not just tight ends.
Oh no! Last year he had 81 receptions. He's working his way into the 90s before this season is over. What a year for the big guy.
Chargers using a lot of time on this drive, nearing the 2-minute timeout. Brees gets away from that contact and makes the completion on the far sideline to Keenan McCardell. Came back to help him out. Clock will run down to the 2-minute timeout. It was not enough for a first down. It'll be 3rd and about a yard and a half. San Diego still in front. 10-0.
Guys,
let's spread some holiday cheer.
Happy holidays from CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. Introducing the DirecTV Plus DVR that lets you record, pause, and rewind live TV with a touch of a button. And by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay.
2 minutes left in the half, and coming up, the Sprint halftime report. Greg, Dan, Shannon, Boomer will have all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and playoff news coming up on the Sprint halftime report. 3rd and a short 2 for Brees and the Chargers at the 40. A 53-yard drive, 11 plays they've consumed over 6.5 minutes. Underneath the Gates again, he's open, and a first down at the 30, tackled by Bob Sanders. Gates, so impossible to cover. 5 catches in the game.
Well, this is, he gets a free release because he makes Bob Sanders whiff. Bob Sanders is trying to get a real jam on him, and he misses. Dwight Freeney, meanwhile, takes the inside on Leander Jordan there and gets excellent pressure on Brees. If that wouldn't have been such a quick pass, that'd have been a sure sack.
A perfect drive. Brees passing 6 out of 6 now to Tomlinson. shifty, and he gets 5 when he really should have been tackled at the line of scrimmage. Sanders down low makes another stop.
Well, let's take a look at what's happening up front right here. A delayed draw, and right there was what a little shake and bake LT put on Gary Brackett there, the middle linebacker.
52 yards rushing for Tomlinson in this first half. Clock down to 55 seconds. Breeze down the middle, complete. It's the big rookie Vincent Jackson inside the 5-yard line. So Jackson, who started the game with a catch, only his second all season, and Breeze looks to the sideline, says, let's spend one of our 3 timeouts. 40 seconds left in the half. Chargers trying to add to a 10-0 advantage. Some looks of disbelief on the Colts bench and in this crowd. This is the top scoring team in the NFL, averaging over 30 a game, shut out with only 40 seconds left in the half, as Drew Brees and the Chargers have consumed nearly 8 minutes on this drive. First and goal at the 4. Tomlinson stacked up at the 1-yard line.
Wow, another helmet came flying out of there. Is that LT's?
Nick Harper made the stop.
Somebody's looked like a Charger helmet. It is Tomlinson's. Whoa, now we're getting some hitting when that's going on. Lorenzo Neal with the block. Whoa, take a look at the sandwich right there. Nick Harper, the first guy to hit him.
That's the kind of gang tackling that forced all those fumbles against the Jaguars last week in Jacksonville. Timeout is called by San Diego. They have 1 remaining.
Any of you folks at home thinking, hey, you know what, I could do this. That might be the kind of a shot we just showed you that maybe you'd like to rethink that position.
And for LT, I mean, to his credit, you get hit like that and you hang on to the ball. That fumble in there would certainly lift the spirits of these Colts going into the locker room. They mark it at the 2-yard line.
In week 6 of this season, the Colts fell behind the St. Louis Rams 17-0. Which is exactly the deficit they're staring in the face right now. And they did come back to win that game 45-28.
1 timeout left now for San Diego. Second and goal, 2-yard line. Gates in motion. Tomlinson stopped at the 1-yard line. Now Breeze has to hurry to get his team up there. Now he's going to spend the timeout now. Thought he might try to down the ball. And with 24 seconds left, 3rd and goal, a play most likely would have to be a pass now. You don't want to risk turning the field goal aside. No more timeouts left for Marty Schottenheimer and his quarterback.
It's with 24 seconds, you could run the ball and you could get your field goal team on there and I think get the field goal away in time. I think you do have an opportunity to do that. But it doesn't leave you a whole lot of margin for error.
But wouldn't you be tipping your hand because that field goal unit should be right up all ready to go, and the other coaches across the way would see that?
Well, I mean, of course they got to be ready to go if you don't score on this, but I'm saying I think they still have time to challenge the Colts defensively with a run rather than a pass. I think 24 seconds gives you enough time to scramble your field goal team onto the field.
It's a sit and hope for the offense of the Colts. 3rd and goal at the 1. Breeze. Incomplete. Tried to go to Antonio Gates over the shorter Mike Doss, but the pass was too tall for the 6'4" tight end.
Well, that was a really fine stand by the Colts defensively. You could see that Antonio Gates tried to get to the inside, fake back to the outside, and Mike Doss really did a good job of maintaining his balance and staying with the much bigger man.
So Nate Kading, who hit from 36, this is no more than an extra point, a 20-yard field goal. So the bad news for the Colts and their fans, they trail 13-0. The good news is they're not down by more than 2 touchdowns.
And that's exactly what they'll talk about in the locker room at halftime. The 2 touchdowns gives us the lead.
And a reminder tonight on CBS, of course, 60 Minutes Is it a one-way ticket to the torture chamber to take a secret American plane, then cold case, and then a world premiere holiday movie? Join the Christmas Blessing. It stars Neil Patrick Harris and Rob Lowe. That's tonight on CBS, America's #1 network. Quite a drive for Drew Brees because it took all the time away from the Colts. And whenever you talk to an opposing coach facing Indianapolis, they always say long possessions. We need long possessions so that Manning and that high-powered offense is on the sidelines, and that's exactly what the Chargers accomplished there.
Well, it is just double dose of kudos. Look at that, 18 plays in that scoring drive over 8 minutes. Double kudos to San Diego. This game they have to win. If they lose this game, basically they have no shot at the playoffs, not realistically. And they've responded. Now, Marty Schottenheimer's team has responded and has played an outstanding 30 minutes of football.
I'll be shocked here if Kading kicks the ball to Dominic Rhodes, but he does. And Rhodes is a man who returned 188 yards for a touchdown last year. 25, 30, 35, and to the 39-yard line with 8 seconds left. Terrence Keel made the tackle. Last time shutout in a half. Week 2 against Jacksonville. Remember, the Colts did start the season with a 24-7 win against Baltimore, then 10-3 in that Jacksonville game, and then 13-6 they beat Cleveland, and everyone was saying, what's wrong with the offense?
In that Jacksonville game, they had to score their 10 points in the 4th quarter. So it was it's not that this team hasn't come from behind before, but the mindset, you wonder, is it different now than it was then? That's everybody's scrambling and fighting and starting at the same place early in the season.
Manning has 8 seconds. Throws the quickie to Harrison in midfield, and he's down to the 41-yard line. 2 seconds and timeout called. But this is out of, one would think, Mike Vanderjagt's range. A chance for a final play for Indianapolis.
No, but you put it up in the air and maybe you draw a penalty, or stranger things have happened.
Well, and those who have followed San Diego all season know that they have been strange for Marty Schottenheimer's team, who led in many of the games that they have lost. And you think about it, 5 defeats by a total of 14 points. There's no team in the league that's lost one game that has had that kind of mark. They've all allowed more than 14.
If they'd have got about another 5 yards or so, they'd have let Vanderjagt have a shot at it. It'd be a 58-yarder now.
His longest is 54. And here is the Dave Rayner, rookie from Michigan State. He's their kickoff man.
They're going to let him try it with the stronger leg.
And this is his first ever field goal attempt in the NFL.
But you got to watch out for stronger leg, long field goals sometimes equates to low trajectory, which equals block. So got to get this up in the air.
Just inside 60 yards. And not close. Why not run it out?
Ball.
Drayton Florence. And he's got some blockers upfield. 30. And now the flags fly, and so does Florence. And that's how the first half is going to end. Worth a try by Tony Dungy.
Did Florence just throw the ball at somebody? Did he just crank off and chuck
During
that ball?
return, holding 93 of the receiving team. That penalty's accepted on the last play of the first half. That is the end of the first half.
So the end of the half, and that'll stun fans around the league when they see a halftime score where the high-powered Colts have scored no points. 13-0 San Diego. The Spread halftime report coming up. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. Sprint, together with Nextel. Yes, you can.
Those of you who've been watching the action in Indianapolis and Miami, welcome back to our New York studios in the Sprint Halftime Report. Greg Gumbel along with Dan, Shannon, and Boomer. We run down the scoreboard for you, and we'll begin, Boomer, with San Diego and the Colts.
Well, we talked about it. We knew that San Diego had something to play for, and they're showing it right here. Here comes Sean Merriman around the corner. Igor Olshansky is going to clean up. That's going to be the first sack of Peyton Manning. And then San Diego's Drew Brees going to come back. 4th and 3 right here. 5-yard connection to Eric Parker. So Drew Brees almost playing the perfect half. Look at him look right. Come back left. Find Keenan McCardell for the first touchdown of the day for San Diego. And then the pressure continues. That's Igor Olshansky at the bottom of that pile pulling down Peyton Manning for the second sack. Here's a little connection to Marvin Harrison down to the 1-yard line. This leads to a 4th and goal. And Peyton Manning, I don't know why he does this, but decides to keep it himself. Obviously not Michael Vick, and Sean Merriman makes the tackle. Chargers are charged up 13-0 at half.
Indianapolis Colts went 31 straight quarters scoring points and have now gone 2 in a row without. As you look at the numbers for Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, can we agree that the best defense against a good quarterback is an all-out pass rush?
Well, there's all-out pass rush. You know, one thing we talked about early in our show is they got to get pressure on Peyton Manning, and they're doing that. They're disrupting that offense. And also San Diego, you said Drew Brees got to play perfect in the first half, and he has, and that's why they're winning.
The only thing is don't settle for field goals, right?
You must get
touchdowns.
And what Tony Dungy, how many more hits are you willing to take on Peyton Manning before you say, you know what, guys, we got home field throughout the playoffs. Let's get Peyton out of this ball game.
Oh, I don't think that's
He's not coming out of the game.
There's no way. They're trying to bring him back right here.
Okay.
All right. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers in Minnesota, Shannon.
1st and 10. Ben Roethlisberger fakes to Willie Parker. Tight ends on the angle cross. That's Heath Miller. Missed tackle. He has a convoy. If he cuts left, he has a touchdown. He doesn't. He's pushed out of bounds. Would lead to a field goal. Antoine Randall cries wolf. A fair catch. He doesn't get it. Hits him on his head.
His head got in the way.
Yes, Minnesota's in great field position. They get 3 cracks, but on 3rd and goal, Cedric Faison is going to be thrown for a loss. And this will lead to a field goal for them. It's 3-3. And Brad Johnson's under pressure. Shovel pass it. Corey Robinson, Joey Porter picks it off. And late, Ben Roethlisberger, look, let me take it myself. 3-yard TD run, dives in the end zone, puts Pittsburgh up 10-3 late in the second.
Vikings, their own worst enemies, with 10 penalties in the first half. Ramifications here as you look at the numbers. A Pittsburgh loss gives the Cincinnati Bengals the AFC North, and you get the feeling you haven't seen the best yet from the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, the 10 penalties, then, of course, the Brad Johnson interception inside his own 20-yard line. You know, Minnesota looks like they're the ones that are playing on the road right now, but I'm sure they'll get it back. They got a late drive going on here right at the end of the second quarter. So they might be able to get some points on the board here.
If they take care of the football, cut out some of these penalties, because they're doing a great job of stopping Jerome Bettis from running the football. They're forcing Ben Roethlisberger to put the football in the air, and that's not what Bill Cowher wants. So if they just cut out some of the penalties, take care of the football, I like their chances.
So far in this first half, it's been all about special teams. The Steelers had 1 turnover on special teams, and Randall L. overcame that, comes back with a big punt return, puts Pittsburgh down there close, and then Brad Johnson throws an interception right here at the end of the half.
Deshae Townsend with looks like about 10 seconds to play in the first half. Stifles the scoring attempt, and right now it is a 10-3 Pittsburgh lead in the final seconds of the first half. Jets and Dolphins, Dan.
And always a big game in the AFC East, and you look at there's the field crew. Get the field right, my man. And early on, Brooks Bollinger comes back to pass. Jason Taylor, untouched, gets a 3-yard sack right there. And Gus Ferrata, pretty good game last couple games. He finds Chris Chambers, who only has 1 catch on the day. That's that 8-yard touchdown. And then they hand off to Cedric Houston, who goes down. Look, nice breaking tackles. Nice effort, gets down to the 1-yard line. The Jets have to settle for a field goal attempt, but they botch the snap. They fumble it. Jeremiah Bell picks it up. That's the first turnover for the Jets. And then right here, nice pass to Doug Jolly, but he gives it up too, stripped by Sam Madison. And Miami misses a field goal. Then Bruce Bollinger comes up with a nice pass to Vernius Coles, brings them within 3 points. And then the Jets add a field goal, and it's tied at half.
Jets looking for the season sweep against the Dolphins. At halftime, Carolina leading the Saints 17-7. San Francisco is in Jacksonville, where the Jaguars lead it by 1 at the break. Seattle and Tennessee are tied at 14 in the early minutes of the second half. Arizona at Houston. Kurt Warner injured. Texans lead at 24-10 at halftime, and the Eagles in St. Louis, where they trail the Rams 13-7. The current results of today's sprint poll on the best coach in the NFL. You say it's Tony Dungy. 49% of you say so. Thank you for watching the Sprint Halftime Report. We'll get you back to Indianapolis and Miami for the second half after this.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. Sprint, together with Nextel. Yes, you can.